So I've played and fully completed the new Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 DLC, Legacy of the Forge, which, you should know right away, is what Warhorse have been calling the first big expansion to KCD2. The previous DLC, Brushes with Death, was really cheap and really short. Legacy of the Forge, though, costs more than double what the last DLC did, and you would think, with that huge price increase, that this DLC would have a lot more to offer than the last one. Is that the case? Well, let's just get to it. I want to give you a very quick and concise review today. To keep it simple, Legacy of the Forge is the here's a way to spend all your excess money DLC. Henry stumbles upon an old rundown forge just outside Kuttenberg, a forge that has a connection to his father's past, and because of that he's inspired to get the forge up and running again, which requires not only a lot of money if you want to max it out, but also a lot of, well, I don't know how else to put it, repetition. What I'm saying is that this DLC is pretty light on the story, and pretty heavy on the go here and get this, run here and do that type of content. Content that all contributes to you leveling up the new Prestige system, which is a new skill this DLC adds to KCD2. A skill that, until leveled up, locks you out of most of the content in Legacy of the Forge. What is Prestige? Well, it's essentially your reputation as a businessman, as a blacksmith in Kuttenberg. Immediately after Henry gets his basic forge functioning, you'll see that your options for upgrading the forge are severely limited, because your prestige is too low. The story does the same thing. Not long after it begins, an NPC will tell you that you'll need to dramatically upgrade your prestige before you'll be allowed to continue. So, from there, the only DLC content available to you are the new blacksmithing activities, which are very simple side quests that refresh on your map daily, usually 3 a day. They're orange icons, and completing them is what raises your prestige. These range from simple commissions for new weapons, to duels, to dice, to archery contests, to church donations, to, well, you name it, it's probably a blacksmithing activity, even if some of them have very little to do with blacksmithing. Some are short little quests that have a story to them, those you'll do once and never see again, whereas others are endlessly repeatable, and of that type you'll start seeing the same exact quests with the exact same lines over and over again. The blacksmithing activities overall are perfectly enjoyable, and a few of the more unique ones are pretty memorable, but I will say, just being honest, and you probably can tell anyway, they're nothing revolutionary, to put it mildly, and you will need to do hours of them to get your prestige leveled. 4 to 6 if you just want to move past the story lockout point, or 12 to 14 if you're wanting to max prestige and fully upgrade your forge. Let's talk about the forge itself though, because it really is the centerpiece of this expansion, and is the main reason I think Legacy of the Forge is worthwhile. The moment you get Henry's Forge, which also includes a living area on the top floor and the yard around the building, well, it already comes equipped with some major quality of life improvements. Not only do you have everything you need in one place, a bed, a storage chest, food, a forge, all with a fast travel point directly outside it, but you also have a sales chest, which is probably the biggest quality of life upgrade I could have imagined for KCD2. What the sales chest allows you to do is simply dump all of your unneeded weapons, armor, jewelry, you name it, inside the chest, and all of it will be sold for you. You just leave what you don't want inside, forget about it for a while, and the old woman who was staying there before Henry arrived and stays on to help with business will sell it all for you. It takes all of the tedium out of selling loot, and the only downside is you don't get your money right away, which, if you already have money saved up, does not matter at all. That's only the base forge though, and we need to talk about how unbelievably useful the forge can become after a few upgrades. And then, to wrap this video up, I want to talk about the story. No spoilers, but, well, there's a reason I haven't mentioned the story much, at least yet. Before we do that though, I do need to take just a quick second to thank PlayOn and the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 FanFest for sponsoring this video. I just had to give a shout out to this. Originally, this video wasn't going to have any sponsor at all, but I am spending the weekend in the real Fortress Malashov, where part of KCD2 takes place, and where people from across the world are coming together to celebrate this amazing game. Anyway, when this review goes live, I will be on my way back, so look out for a report on how this trip went, and if interested in Legacy of the Forge or future KCD events, be sure to click the link in the description. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, this was all very last minute. I'm recording this in my hotel room several days after the rest of this video was recorded, so back to the review. Okay, so the forge upgrades. These are what push Henry's Forge from being a nice, reliable place to spend the night into something that, well, if you invest in the forge, it becomes an amazing one-stop shop for everything. What I really like about Legacy of the Forge is that customization of your new home and business isn't just cosmetic. Sure, some of it is, like how you decorate the outside of the building, but you can turn the outdoor courtyard and your bedroom into the only places you'll ever need to go in between quests. You can build extra workshops and invite other tradesmen there, you can equip the place with an alchemy bench, a garden, a wine cellar, a place to launder your clothes, seriously, anything you need. There are even a bunch of upgrades that passively give you free crafting supplies, or give you major stat boosts just for sleeping in your upgraded bed. The Forge makes having to zigzag around the map to maintain your Henry almost 100% unnecessary. It's all right there in one place, and honestly, I've only scratched the surface in what I've just said. There are so many more options. If upgrading and customizing the Forge itself sounds like something you'd enjoy, then Legacy of the Forge is a no-brainer for you. And I'll also say, to call back to what we talked about earlier, I think once this DLC is just part of KCD2, part of the complete package, aka you're not playing this from a late game save and doing everything at once, I think then all of the blacksmith activities will no longer feel grindy, because they won't be the only thing for you to do. You'll end up starting the expansion after getting to Kuttenberg with 70 hours of the game left, and you'll have plenty of other things to complete as you gradually raise your prestige and slowly upgrade your forge. Now let's wrap this review up with a little bit on the story, without spoilers, and, well, I really haven't talked about Legacy of the Forge's story much because, honestly, there's hardly anything to talk about. Henry decides he's going to become a proper blacksmith in the footsteps of his father, who used to live in Kuttenberg, and as part of him walking in his father's footsteps, he decides to attempt a repair on the Kuttenberg clock tower. That's what the main story is, trying to fix the clock, and it's a very straightforward and relatively short story. I think if I were to edit down my Legacy of the Forge recordings to just main quest stuff, I'd have like 5 hours of footage, maybe. It's perfectly fine as just another quest and as a framing device for Henry becoming a more accomplished craftsman, but it doesn't attempt to be much more than that. Although there is the added flair of meeting a lot of people who used to know Henry's dad, which does lead to quite a few interesting conversations. Just don't go into this DLC expecting anything too ambitious story-wise, because again, it's about the Forge itself. You can tell Warhorse were treating this DLC as if the Forge is the centerpiece and everything else is secondary, and to be fair, it's called Legacy of the Forge. Now, before fully ending this video, I should also mention that this DLC is releasing alongside a new free-to-everyone update, Update 1.4. This one doesn't make a ton of huge changes, but there are two major highlights. One is the new upgraded photo mode. The old photo mode kind of sucked, to be honest. You basically could just take a screenshot as is, and that was all. Now though, there are tons and tons of options at your disposal. Dozens of sliders to adjust the perfect shot just as you want it. Update 1.4 also adds a dynamic HUD to the game, which does exactly what you probably think it does. It makes parts of the HUD disappear when you don't need them and reappear when you want them back. For example, when you're walking, the only thing you'll see is your compass at the top of your map. But once you break into a sprint, your stat bar will fade back in so you can see your stamina. Anyway, that is all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. It really helps my videos get out there. And if you want to see my stuff in your sub box, consider subscribing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons for their continued support. Check out Legacy of the Forge if you want to, and that's all. See ya.